Hello, good people. Welcome to another Train Sim World 4 video. We're going to be taking a look at the MAINTALBAHN, Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg, which is kind of a portion of Main Spessart Bahn from, I think it was the first Train Sim World before we got to number 4, of course. Anyway, it is available now on all platforms, November the 28th of 2023, just before the new year, of course. And it's $29. They've gone to the $39 add-on price. I guess this one's not because it's short and there's not a whole lot. They probably used a lot from Main Spessart Bahn, which again was a very old route. It's going to come with the DBBR642 diesel multiple unit in the West Frankenbahn livery, which is kind of like a subsidiary of DB. You're going to get the 363 diesel shunter as well, some Hobbins and Ruse T wagons and scenarios, timetables, all that good stuff. 4.6 gigabyte total. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop in and take a look. All right, so let's crack this thing open. Again, MAINTALBAHN, Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg. Again, for some of you old hats that have played Train Sim World since its inception, essentially, Main Spessart Bahn, which basically is a portion of this route, came out many years ago, long before Train Sim World 4 was a thing. I'll go ahead and crack the map open here. So this whole area up here is the Main Spessart Bahn. This way continued on east in the Main Spessart Bahn route, which is, of course, a separate route and not added on to this, which kind of sucks, to be honest. And it loops around. This is your MAINTALBAHN, so it's a single line. It basically means a Main River Valley line to a degree. This over here is a port on the Main River, which is kind of cool. I've always liked this area ever since Main Spessart Bahn came out. This is the yard here. So about down to here is where the route initially ended. Back in the day as well, on the original Main Spessart Bahn, you could not come back in here. There are several industries back in here for freight. It's kind of looking like there's not any of that going to be available here, which kind of sucks, but we'll take a peek at that, of course. But so this is Main Spessart Bahn, which already existed up here, and then this down here is the MAINTALBAHN, which goes all the way down to Miltenberg, which is right there. And then this is another line that continues on south, which sadly we did not get as a portion of this. But it follows the Main River, and in real life it is a very scenic area. A lot of people come here for tourism, hiking, biking, and just lush green landscapes. It looks very nice. But let's go ahead and start hopping around the route. We're going to take a look at things, go over some history, you know, transportation bits and bobs here and there, and then of course we're going to get into the actual DMU, which is what we see here in front of us. This is a fueling station that are at Aschaffenburg and Miltenberg to fuel these up. And anyway, let's just get on with it. So we are at the north end, or the north anchor of the route, Aschaffenburg, and we'll go over a few bullet points again as we see one kind of rolling here to us. That was timed perfectly. So this is, again, MAINTALBAHN, Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg. It's going to be $29.99 US. It's going to be about 37 kilometers or 22 miles thereabouts, plus the 4-kilometer port branch. You're going to get the all-new DBBR642 diesel multiple unit, the DBBR363 diesel shunter, DB Hobbins and Ruse T wagons. You're going to get 5 scenarios, a timetable, of course we'll take a look at. And if you have MAINTALBAHN, which is one of the best add-ons that have ever been available for Train Sim World, in my very humble opinion, those being the BR628s, will be available to use and see AI on MAINTALBAHN in the Regio Express services and livery, so they'll be in the red instead of the blue. But the MAINTALBAHN is a very good DLC in itself. So this area is basically located in western Bavaria. It's in like the very tippy top northwestern corner of Bavaria in the Main Valley. This is all mainly a single track line. There are some passing areas at stations, things like that, a few industries here and there. And again, this is a portion of the MSB, or Main Spessart Bahn, from the previous Train Sim World title. It's going to be 14 stations overall. And then substitutions from other DLC include the BR425 from Bremen Oldenburg. So these are all DLC that you'll need to have these substitutions. So the BR425 Bremen Oldenburg, the ICE-1 from Kassel Würzburg, the BR185 from Vorarlberg, the Vectron, which is a standalone we just got, which is a very, very nice locomotive, the Zackenswagons from Riesa Dresden, and the 146 and Doppelstock from the original Main Spessart Bahn. So again, what I like to do with a lot of these videos is check out the locale, location, region, route, and everything within, and then of course the stock, and then we'll take a look at what all you can do within this route. So we are currently sat in Aschaffenburg. We'll go ahead and pop the map open again. You can see by my feet. What I did for this is loaded in just a what they call on foot, and then I hopped in a train so I can roam around with the free cam. So this is Aschaffenburg HBF, which is the main station. This is the freight yard down here. And Aschaffenburg is a fairly decent sized town. It's located in almost, again, the most northwestern corner of Bavaria on the River Main, bordering the Hessen state, just over there. Now, as a lot of places, especially in Bavaria and Germany and Europe as a whole, some of the earliest remains in this location historically date back to the Stone Age, and of course was home to the Roman legions dating back in 700 AD, and there is a ton of ancient Roman historical things and sites and just all kinds of stuff, which is really very interesting to me, historically based anyway. But the Aschaffenburg HBF, which is the train station where we're at currently, is situated on the Ruhr, Frankfurt, Nuremberg, Munich, Vienna rail corridor, which is a very, very busy corridor for the most part. And this is originally located where the freight yard was built back in the mid-1800s, I want to say about 1854. And it currently serves 8 tracks with 4 platforms serving ICE, IC, RE, and RB. So largely everything kind of looks samey to me in this area. I believe they did update the platforms and the ballast and track. I'm pretty sure Dovetail said that they laid new track all throughout. It looks a bit more pink to me. I feel like it was more of like a darker gray on the original Main Spessart Bahn, which is what I'm going to base that upon. But all the buildings and whatnot kind of look very samey. Like you'll see that house in the distance there. They use a lot of that in a lot of the German maps. But the station itself does look pretty faithful. It's nothing too crazy as far as a train station, but it looks it looks pretty similar to what it should be. The bus station is actually kind of situated where the old station was, I believe, and the freight station itself. I don't know if you can hear my dogs in the background whining at each other. Hopefully that's not being brought through. But that way goes across the river into another state in Germany. So we're going to head east and then, of course, south. So we're a bit further away from Aschaffenburg HBF. We are facing east, of course. Over to the left is the current freight yard, which continues on to the main line itself. The main line is this bit over here, Main Spessart Bahn, which goes around that way. And then the way that this route goes, kind of like back from the Main Spessart Bahn days to the port, is curving around to the right. And that's the direction that we're currently going to take here. One of the things I'm not seeing, and I'm pretty sure you should be able to see it from here. We'll see if we can kind of sneak up on one of these buildings with this weird camera janky deal. So there's a very prominent building in Aschaffenburg, and it's Schloss Johannisburg. Let me see if I can get up here. And yes, I sadly do not see it. It's going to be basically situated on the river back there. But Schloss Johannisburg was built in the early 1600s for the Prince Bishop of Mainz. Built mainly of red sandstone, which is a very big aggregate in this area, and a derivative of the nearby Spessart Hills, which kind of are all throughout this region. I mean, to me they're technically mountains, but whatever. But it's a very major German landmark built in the Renaissance period, and it's pretty notable. I feel like you should be able to see it. It's not like you're really going to drive by it, per se, but in the air it would have been nice had they added something like that. But alas, they did not. All right, anyway, you know, little things like that are kind of big to me. I think if one building, you know, if Aschaffenburg is known for one building, it's, you know, it's going to be Schloss Johannisburg, but sadly it is not there. Let's see how it will let us fly along here. So it looks like we got this new fencing which they put in. I don't remember that. It's got this weird LOD. You see how it just pops in and out? That looks pretty dog. And I guess that's not fair to dogs, because there's some nice looking dogs. It looks kind of shit when it pops in like that. So let's see if we can fly over this tunnel. This up here is a park. Nice little public space, in case you're ever wondering what you were going under, of course, with the highway running alongside there. And this is the first station. I forget what this one's called. The next one's Süd, which is south, basically. All right, this is Hochschule. So this pretty much looks the same to me as well. Yeah, it looks like some of the vegetation was changed a bit, and it looks like the ground texture overall, this, I don't know, it might not be new, but it looks new to me. There's a lot more color in there instead of just green and brown, which is nice. You can see it there on that embankment as well. So it looks like, you know, it's been topped up a bit in the foliage department, which I'm always a big fan of. But yeah, this is definitely one of the smaller stations. There would not be this many people here. We got some urban art on the electrical box there, which is always nice to see. Continue down. Here's some pigeons back there. We'll go into this one. That's a park up there as well, or a cemetery. One of the two, I forget. Here's Aschaffenburg Süd, or south. The southerly station. So I feel like something's missing here. There used to be a large sign on top of this station here in Main Spessart Bahn, and that's not there anymore. In fact, I feel like this building looks worse than the one from the old train sim world, Main Spessart Bahn, which kind of stinks. I kind of liked this little station. You never really came down here, so to speak. At any rate, some of these buildings are definitely new. They have a lot more color. They pop a lot more. They have that older kind of sandstony look to them, like the bleaching or the fading. Those look pretty good. I don't recall those. Looks like some of them are floating. Very quick, kind of lazy job with making those level with the ground, which kind of sucks, but it be what it be. This is an old industry spur. I'm pretty sure it's not rail served any longer. It might be. I'm honestly not totally sure. At any rate, this was not here on Main Spessart Bahn either. I don't believe this building was here. None of this. This is all changed. This was basically just empty. It just kind of dead-ended for the most part. So yeah, let's keep on scooching down that way. The foliage does look a bit different, which is nice. Man, the LOD, or level of detail, the popping in on that fence does look pretty horrendous. Yeah, a lot of this has been redone. I'm kind of liking these tracks and the sleepers as well. Those look pretty nice. Are those new? If not, what were they used on? Those look pretty good. The rails kind of look crummy. I mean, you guys, some of you old hats, old Train Sim World hats, remember the actual shine or the glare on well-used rails? That's not even there, which kind of sucks. All right, let's scooch on down. We're going to get close to the river down here, and it'll branch off towards the port. We've got a pitch. They did add a bit more scenery vegetation-wise on this hill, because from the Main Spessart Bahn original route, one of the things you notice is just this bare land all through here. So they did add some nicer kind of ground texture and grass and shrubberies. Hedgerows could be better, but they're there. And then, of course, the 2D trees, which back in the day in the original MSB, this was nothing. It just looked like a muddy hill with nothing on it, which really sucked. But again, you didn't really come down here unless you were working the port. It's a pedestrian crossing. You kind of see a bridge, the rail bridge over there. I believe that's what that is. And so this way, yeah, this looks a lot better down here. Yeah, they topped this up quite a bit. Because I went back and looked through Main Spessart Bahn the other day just to try and get mental, pictures of how it looked then versus now. And vegetation-wise, it looks good. It looks a lot more up to standards. And I've always loved the German stuff within Train Sim World. It's like my #1 reason to even play, really. But anyway, so that way, that begins a single line. You can see the 100 km/h speed board there starting, which goes down to Miltenberg along the river, and then this way goes to the port. So let's go ahead and head towards the port. All right, here's the rail bridge nearing the port, and that has changed. This looks significantly better than it did originally. And the banks of the river look okay nearby until, further away, and it doesn't look good at all. But yeah, this is a nice surprise. Let's continue. We've got a pedestrian and bike crossing here as well, which is what this specific spot actually looks like with the way the fence kind of zigzags. I'm assuming that's to kind of slow you down so you don't come barreling through and get smacked and pancaked by a friggin' train. But that's what that looks like, and that was updated as well, which was a nice touch. So GG there. Now here, continuing on further, so we have a split. This way goes back to some industry, and then this way goes on to the port. So let's see what's back here. See if you can continue on. It would kind of stop you on Main Spessart Bahn from continuing. Let's see how far it lets us go, if at all. There's, I believe there's a large forklift manufacturer back here. I mean, it's huge. So yeah, it looks like you can actually come down and get out of the bushes there. Solar farm, of course. The modern era in which we live. Wow, so it looks like you can't go back here. If there's no timetable stuff, I would imagine you could just do the free roam, of course, and come back here. But yeah, there's a gas company called, I believe it's called Transgas, which should be down this bit, which I don't see anything down here, sadly. So there's like a pump that would sit right here, and a couple of tank cars would get worked out through here. So that's not here, sadly. That'd have been nice. Was that added? But, geez, what is the name? This forklift company. So this whole area over here is like this giant forklift company I'm thinking about. I don't know the name of it, but it's basically a giant forklift manufacturer. And if you look on Google Maps, there's just tons of them sitting there waiting to be shipped. It's kind of insane. I have no clue what kind of forklifts there are. But you can come back here, which is nice. Main Spessart Bahn, this was blocked off, and you could not. Another little interesting bit about this way, so if you look this way, you can't see anything, sadly, but this is a massive park back here. It's called Park Schönbusch, which is just acres and acres and acres of beautifully landscaped land with tons of trails. You know, be a great place to go stretch your legs, walk your dog, ride a bike, whatever. There's a lot of old historical buildings back there. There's some more Roman ruins back here, or what's left of them, which was Stockstadt Castle as well. So there's a ton of stuff back here, which, you know, I doubt is there. It's just a massive park. It used to be kind of like a second home for the Archbishop, if I'm not mistaken, that was back in there. Jeez, what was it called? I think it was the Archbishop of Mainz. But there's a ton of historical buildings in there, you know, forest, you know, neoclassical built, just a really, really nice area. You're not really going to be able to see it from here, sadly. Some more pitches. All right, we are coming into the port. Anyway, that park was designated in the 18th century for the Archbishop himself. It was kind of like a secondary home. But, yeah. All right, so this pretty much looks samey. It looks like they really poo-pooed on this turntable here. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. That looks kind of assy. I would imagine it doesn't look like that in real life. This is back here. I don't know if it's used anymore, but there is a shunter that, you know, this is its home and does quite a bit of work back here in the Aschaffenburg port. This little tower here as well. This is the yard. See if there's anything sitting back in here. Not really. Just up ahead at dead ends. It's just, you know, the ladder in and out of the yard to be able to get around the stuff. But the Aschaffenburg port is the logistical hub for the Bavarian Rhine and Main region. And this was previously home to a very large power station that sat up here. Nowadays, I think it's got about 60 some odd companies. Handles over 1 million tons via, you know, rail, water. But rail mainly handles, you know, construction materials, intermodal containers, wood products, scrap metal, stuff like that. There's quite a bit you can do back here. So one of the first ones is a metal scrapper right here. I'll come down this way. I believe there's more metal scrapping down here along with these gantries or cranes. Do they move? So they still move. They are animated. This was a thing in Main Spessart Bahn from back in the day. I feel like the ground texture looks different back here. Everything looks just a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper, I will say, comparing this to the old port. This dead ends down here, and then we'll hop over to the next little spur. There'll be some more scrapping down here as well. Do a run around. So this is the Main River back here that actually runs past. So it runs through there. It kind of zigzags, and then this is the port built off of the river. So the bridge we went over back there was actually the Main River itself, because when we go back, we're actually going to follow the Main River south. We'll see what else is over here. A lot of the buildings kind of look the same to me. I feel like this fence here is new. I don't remember that bi-colored green fence. Anyway, here's another little spur there that goes down along that side. Got some wood products and stuff. There's another one here. Oh, we've actually got some rail cars sitting down there, some logs. They'll do a lot of pulp. I believe your pulp is going to be over there. A lot of timber in and out of this area. There's your wagons. We'll see if we can just... There we go. Nice. This is the next little spur. Some of this does look a bit different. So in the original Main Spessart Bahn, they just kind of had these old... They had like a log pile asset that they would just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So this is different as well. It's not just thousands and thousands of logs. Intermodal yard as well. In Main Spessart Bahn, there actually used to be what they call coasters. So a coaster is like a riverboat in Europe, basically. You know, narrow, low draft, generally long, and they'll, you know, stack like one layer of containers. There were coasters that sat in here with containers on them. I think it may be on another little canal. We'll head over here and look. That goes back in there. Some more wood products. As you can see, the car's sitting there. And I think there's one or two more lines back here. This goes back quite a ways. Now, one of the big things back here is what's called Rail 1, which is a track building and tie manufacturer and distributor. So that should be back here, because that is a very large industry. Now, of course, we don't have... Okay, yeah, so, so they kind of have it. This is like a cheapo version of that. So there very much should not be containers here. It should be all concrete ties, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, rail cars would come in here and move them in and out. So it's, you know, we'll call it like some placeholdery type stuff. But it's a very large tie manufacturer and distributor back here. So it's kind of there. Kind of. Anyway, that is the port. Fairly busy port and important for this area. There's always quite a bit of work to do, or at least there was on Main Spessart Bahn. I don't know if there is in this. Of course, we'll take a look at that when we get back to the menu and look at the timetable and all that. But as for now, let us continue south on the MAINTALBAHN. Here's the first station heading southbound back on the line. This is Aschaffenburg. Very unassuming, not a whole lot. Kind of some suburbs and little towns through here. It's just a single platform. Nothing really too crazy going on here. Over now. Dovetail still using that same dreaded font. God, they never changed the fonts. I don't understand it. We got some speakers, the clock, Ausgang. I don't remember seeing Ausgang signs. That might be new. Huh. Probably wrong. Probably wrong. Ticket machine, bench. I think we have some new PIS or passenger information system stuff. It looks a bit different. Doesn't look bad. I don't know about the spelling and all that. We have a nice tractor parked here. That's hilarious. Yeah, so nothing too crazy going on here. Let's continue. Here we have the first kind of real station, Sulzbach am Main, which is nice because it's actually got the West Frankenbahn signage up there, which again is like a subsidiary of DB. That's why it doesn't say DB and it says West Frankenbahn. Typically, you know, small diesel multiple unit, single track type stuff that West Frankenbahn will handle. This place looks a lot better, though. You can see the old station here, sadly. Kind of like, you know, just like a lot of stuff in the U.S. A lot of these stations are in disrepair, or they're privately owned and turned into a friggin' library or a bank or who knows what. I don't know what the deal with this one is, but I'm not sure if it's used anymore or not. But the building itself does look nice, and it looks like a custom job, like it's original. So that's always nice as well. If that is reused, I don't recall, but they have popped in some new buildings as well, like that one there with kind of the faded sandstone look to it. But Sulzbach am Main, and that is because am Main means on the river, basically, and that is the river back there. And the river, of course, is kind of the centerpiece of this route, the Main River, and it's basically the longest tributary of the Rhine River flowing west through central Germany for almost 330 miles. And, fun fact, it is the longest river entirely within the German borders. So that's kind of neat. So it runs along the river there. A lot of green spaces. This would be my kind of place. I mean, you can do a ton of hiking, biking, running all through here. And that is, in fact, what a lot of people do. And what kind of revitalized this line, because it was slated for closure, I want to say like back in the 2000s. And, you know, tourism and biking and all that kind of boosted it back a little bit and made it what it is today. So a lot of this is just some greenery, a lot of parks that follow, you know, right alongside the river itself. But back to the track and the track side, this looks pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised with this. I'm liking the way the grass is kind of encroaching on, you know, the track bed there. I'm still not crazy about this, you know, obvious hump that's in all the Train Sim World stuff and not just flattened out a bit. But the grass doesn't seem to be, you know, like a quick, you know, straight line chop job, if you will. Still a lot of old reused foliage assets like these weeds here in the grass and stuff like this. MAINTALBAHN, it is not. But so far from what I've seen, this does not look half bad. In all honesty, it's looking pretty good so far. Like what I see, especially the distant hills. When you see you know, when you see the landscape or the horizon and the hills in the distance, they look far better than Main Spessart Bahn did back in the day. Continuing south, I noticed this, which does not look very pretty at all. We're on our way down to Kleinwallstadt, and that is the Main River over there, which just follows. And you can see, you know, I know the river's dammed up in a few places and there's locks to get boats through. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. That might be what that's supposed to be, but it kind of looks like crap. And the riverside. So this is a very lush river valley. I mean, we're talking, you know, weeds and grass as tall as your head, you know, the average adult. And that is just extremely bare right there. Yes, I get it. There are parks all throughout here, but along a lot of the riverbank, you know, it's not going to have that clean, you know, just kind of cliff of geography straight into the water kind of deal. It's going to be just lined with weeds and trees and grasses and stuff like that. So that does not look very good. I don't know if that's like an issue with the scenery or what, but it's kind of hard to tell from here. And then you can see, just looking straight ahead, the water just kind of disappears, and then it's like you know, mini Grand Canyon. Next station, moving along south, is Kleinwallstadt, which looks okay. There's, again, not too much to speak of through here. It does have a passing track and a couple of platforms. This building here looks very nice. I like the way that looks. Love seeing newer, you know, more detailed buildings. And then it goes right to this, which, I mean, you can just tell this is from like Train Sim World -12. And then this, of course, is like some of the newer stuff here. And so it's nice to have some of the newer originality mixed in, but like this stuff is, gosh. No bueno. Not good. I mean, these are a lot newer, of course. So yeah, Kleinwallstadt. I'm still liking the urban art along all that. Makes it feel more, you know, alive and modern and in an area that's lived in, and not just stupid clean, if you will. All right, we're continuing just south of Kleinwallstadt, the station we just took a look at, and there's numerous level crossings along this route, and some of these DMUs and trains fly through here at a pretty hurried rate. Anyway, there are some crossings just like this with, you know, signaled, marked with arms, and these do move. A moment ago, I wasn't able to catch it in time. Sadly, a train did come barreling through here, and they went down, and the train passed, and they went back up within a reasonable amount of time. But I'm not hearing any gongs or dings or bells or anything like that. Some of these in this area have a very specific kind of sound to them. They didn't make any kind of noise except for like the servo motor, you know, noise, and that was it. More south, we are coming on well, that didn't sound right. We're coming upon a neat little area on the route. We're about halfway down, and this is, I want to say it's Oberberg, Elsenfeld, and then a little bit further down is Glenstalf, which is industry center, basically, which is a giant industry center, as you can see on the horizon there. It's got its own little station, which is neat. But there's a power plant down here, a boat builder, and supposedly a little yard, if you will, right along the river. You can still see the river sitting there. So we'll come into it down here. This is Elsenfeld right here. Station looks pretty appropriate, kind of modern. You can see like an old freight house sitting over there. I like the sign, yep. Oberberg, Elsenfeld, again. You know, the font kind of looks ass, and you don't see any, at least I don't see any official logos on there. Which, you know, it is what it is. A little booth here. There's stairs to get under, of course. Anywho, small little freight yard here. Do some freight ops. I don't know if a whole lot happens on here anymore. There's quite a few like warehouses down there. So the main line is the one that goes straight through, and then this little bit that you can kind of see curving off to the left is some warehouses and whatnot. I don't know if those are served anymore, but it should go over to the river. Let's see if we can go over here and take a peek. There's a bit of what looks like road running or street running back in here. And I did just see Yeah, there's cars back here. Very, very cool. And by cars, I mean freight cars or wagons, of course. We just call them cars here in the States. So I see some tankers. We are, of course, right on the river. So if these are back here, I would imagine we can come back here and do work, which is pretty cool because I love stuff like that. This place looks pretty nice. Of course, a lot of these assets are reused. I get it. They can't make new assets every time, but you got to start updating that catalog. You know what I mean? This is a very big area though. Big industry center on the river. I think it's got some trimodal transportation, which kind of course, trimodal moving between the river, the rail, and then trucks, of course, and then a power plant. There is a big boat builder down in here somewhere. I might have already passed it. See a little 363 back in here with a Rayon livery, which is cool. So it looks like you can do some stuff back here. Oh, it's not letting me go back there with the free cam. That sucks. It should pretty much dead end right there. Let's go over here. Anyway, very large industry center. It looks like you can work it. Here's the yard, of course, back in here. And then the Glenstalf station. It's not really a station. It's more like a platform. Should be right down here on the right. And I believe that is it right there. So yeah, very nice. It's again, this isn't like Blackpool branches or Niedertalbahn level of quality, but I'd say it's upper mid so far for sure. Here it is, Glenstalf sign with the West Frankenbahn logo on there as well. Little station house. Put your bikes and whatnot in there. This actually looks pretty decent. This little bike shelter here. That looks good. I like the way that looks. I like it. I like it a lot. We got this little bit that runs over in here. I don't know if this is served to this day any longer. It looks like you can obviously see a fence there, so I don't know if anything could transfer between. And then we got another crossing here, which the arms are up currently, so I would imagine that they are animated. It's just, the lights are always going off and on. I don't know if they do that in real life or not, but these crossings could use some love. This would absolutely knock your alignment out of whack at the very least. And, puncture some tires. It probably wouldn't feel too good. So dropping that down on the ground would definitely look a lot nicer. Or hell, raise the road up to meet it. I don't know. Just make it a bit more level. Alright, next station is Erlenbach, or Erlenbach am Main, and of course that is because the Main River is right over there. In fact, we're about to cross it, but this is one of those stations where I'm not totally sure. So this, considering what stops here anyway. So there's a couple of services. There's the RE 87 that runs Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg, along with the RB 88. So RE is basically a regional express. So it's a regional stopper, but it does not stop everywhere. The RB is a bit slower of a train or a service and generally stops more at, at places like this. I would think this is a RE stop, whereas an RB would be, a lot more stops, I guess. I haven't figured that part out as far as German trains, but it's another kind of just unassuming platform. Nothing totally crazy going on here. We'll go up to the river. So we've been, essentially on the eastern side of the Main River, and now we are going to the western side of the river. We've got some nice derailers there. Got a safe walking platform across. Am I going to be able to see the dang bridge? Is it going to stick me to the top of it? Okay, so that actually looks alright. Yeah, not too shabby. I don't know about that see-through water. That looks kind of funny. But, oh yeah. Looks nice. I like. And the distant scenery, too, of course, looks okay in most places. Kind of questionable in some. And then this is one of those places where I feel like the riverside scenery could look a hell of a lot better. I don't know if it's that steep. I think it's more of a level plane from you know, terra firma into the ground. You can see some shoddily placed trees there. I don't know if they have cypress trees in Germany, but that's generally what grows out of water. That ridge line in the far distance, this is like a Rosa line level for some of you that may remember the tragedy of the Arosa line. But God almighty, man, stick some plants and trees. Look at a bit of fence sticking out there. Like, you're gonna see this stuff coming across this bridge, guys. Like, it looks very assy, and it's very light colored. Like I said, this area is very, very lush. I mean, it's a freaking river valley. You know, and I think this area gets quite a bit of rain during the year. So, gosh, this looks terrible. Some you know, riverside parts looks okay, but this, my God, does not. Lord above. You can see one of the other, so there's a couple boat builders, I think. There's one down there, what was it, Erlenbach, and then there's that right there where they actually slide in. We might be able to see that. So we're shifting on to the west side of the river. Next up should be Wörth am Main. The O with the two dots on the top. Is that U? Never figured that out either as far as German. Here it is, Wörth am Main right here. Should be anyway. Yes, it is. You've got the old building, station house, which of course, you know, sadly is no longer used. So what's neat about this place in real life, and it's kind of shit that Dovetail didn't add it. So I want to say this is like a restaurant now or something. It's privately owned. But right about here in real life is a little kind of fictitious or fictive steam locomotive. That's just like part of this building now. It just kind of adds to the area, and it would kind of go along this bit of fence right there. And sadly, that's not there. I mean, you know, you could throw something in Blender or whatever the hell and whip it up. It ain't got to be the nicest looking thing in the world, and just plop it down and you're done. But sadly, that's not there. Little, you know, little pieces like that, like the friggin' palace in Aschaffenburg. Like, come on, we ought to be able to see stuff like that. But anywho, let us continue. Here is the next station on now the west side of the river. This is Klingenberg or Klingenberg am Main, which is a neat little historical town. There's quite a bit going on with this town in real life. I don't know about the game itself, but it's very scenic with some vineyards and a ton of history, including like an old Roman worship stone, medieval ramparts. You know, some of the oldest stuff within this region are found right here in Klingenberg, as far as historically. But anyway, Roman fortifications basically ran along the river, up the Main Valley the whole way, and this was just one of those areas. But a lot of it dated back to the 2nd century. Anyway, let's take a look around and see what's here. Another kind of unassuming platform, nothing too wild. Now, some of the distant scenery I'm not crazy about. I don't like how it's got that brown look. Now, I've never been here, but you know, ton of videos and whatnot and pictures that I've seen in this area. It's pretty lush. Now, I have this set to July, so this is mid-year, summertime, prime growing time, and you know, this looks like we're in California or something. It's I don't know. Some of the texturing is very questionable. Field station here. We would continue. Little water park here. So that is here indeed. It's actually not a water park. It's just kind of like a community pool with a slide. So they added that, which is neat. That is most definitely here, and it does look like that. They got that right for the most part. Now, something I'm not seeing, so I think the historical bit of the town is actually across the riverbank there, and man, I'm gonna be kind of pissy about it. So that side was a very good place to defend this area right over there, right where that bridge is. That's where the fort was. There's some old castle ruins over there. And they should be over there, but there's nothing over there. So, in fact, I'm assuming where that big bare area is some vineyards. So there's a very large vineyard there, and then some old castle ruins, and it's a very large part of tourism in this area. And there's just absolutely nothing there. Now, to be fair, it's not like you'd be able to see a ton of detail, but something. Come on, guys. That's a bit shit as well. This thing here, which kind of looks like a bridge, is actually a hydroelectric facility. Let's see if we can go over there. And then the bit off here, this little offshoot, is a lock, which, yeah, I'm not really seeing any kind of lock mechanisms. So I mean, it's there, but you know, their argument a lot of the time is going to be, well, your view for a lot of this stuff is going to be sat right here, but guess what? That area does not have what it should have, which is the old Klingenberg castle ruins. So that kind of sucks. It's like a big state or region-owned area with some, you know, trails and just whatnot. I think you can hike all back in that area, matter of fact, but that kind of sucks, man. I love seeing the historical stuff, and it just kind of adds to an area, and it's very lacking. Not to mention the buildings over there. So a lot of your older, you know, the old town, as they would call it, is going to be over there on that side of the river, and there's really nothing to you know, leads you to believe that that's anything going on over there, which kind of sucks. But anyway, next station heading south is Liedernbach on Main, because again, the river is right there, so it's on the river. Again, just another kind of very mediocre, unassuming platform. Nothing too crazy going on here. The geography in this area, the further south you go along the river through here, is a bit closer, so the valley is kind of a bit more narrow. You see a lot more prominent hills and mountains and things like that, but I'm still not crazy about that kind of light sandy color, you know, just base ground texture they went with. Make it green or something. Like, that looks okay because it's covered with trees, and then some areas look okay facing that way, but that's way too dry, man. That's very, like, California, Idaho-y looking, you know, in some regions, very arid, and it's not very nice. I don't think it's very representative of the area, but anyway, Liedernbach. So we're just a couple miles south, facing north, and this is one of those things where, like, you know, it's really starting to get to me. This is the kind of stuff that you are going to notice. Just look how bare that ridge line is down there, not to mention the LOD and the trees when you zoom in and out. But this over here, man, like, I get the fact that they want you to see the river because it's scenic and it's there. But if it's not there in real life, you know, via the scenery and the tree and vegetation density, then make it so. Don't fake it. This is just super bare. This looks very bad. This looks like something in progress. This looks like something not yet finished. And then again, of course, we've got these 2D trees on this big sandy mountain, which the color, you know, yikes. Just yikes. Next station farther down is Kleinwallstadt. The old station house here, again, looks pretty good. Nice seeing that. Don't think it's used like a lot of these are. This is the other platform. It's just way too busy, man. I would be willing to bet that only like 10 people a day see this platform, if that. Now, this probably is one of the larger towns along this route, but it's just way too populated. This is a very rural setting and line. This through here looks okay. I like how it's opened out a little bit, you know, scenery wise. Go farther down. Looks like we have a little industry right here. Not sure what that does, or if it's still served at all anyway. Nice little touch. Some of the rail laying there. Always like seeing that. Feel like there should be a lot more clutter in a lot of these routes and add-ons. Let us continue. So this is probably going to be one of the bigger stretches that you're going to encounter between, you know, towns or anything of note. Well, between here and Ellenbach, which is back to the north. But the next and last one is, station is Miltenberg. So this over here is a cool little yard, which most definitely is here IRL. I believe this is a pet food manufacturer and feed. So, you know, anything to do with feeding animals is what this is. So yeah, it looks like they got that put in there pretty nice, which is cool. Oh my God, man, these distant mountains and that freaking brown. Anyway, yeah, a couple of spurs for some rail cars. You know, if you look on Google Maps, look at that mountain over there. Jesus Christ. Come on, Dovetail. Please. Even if it takes you all of a day, just let's get the distant terrain looking right, because that's a big part of that, man. I feel like I'm in Utah. Utah, Germany. Yeah. Anyway, this is making me sad. That over there doesn't look half bad. Oh my God, dude, that untreed mountain there, or partially treed, that just looks horrendous. Anyway, it's baffling me. It's making me brain fart big time. So that's the animal feed place back there. This is another very, very scenic branch line that goes, it goes down to Osterburen. I forget I think it starts with a T. I can't remember the name of it, but those are some interesting ties. Now, I don't know if that's new in the asset library of Dovetail, but what the hell? Those are funky. And if you look, you can actually see the old standard kind of regular tie, and then the closer you get, they kind of just vanish. So we'll back up here and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so those are funky, man. I guess because it's kind of such a sharp curve. But we'll go further down here. Just up here, you should cross the Mud River or Mud Creek. Well, it's back there somewhere. Where the hell is it? Is it completely underground? Anyway, it's like a little tributary. Oh, that's it right there. Okay, yeah, so you can't really tell. And then we are back on the Main. So that is Klingenberg, Jesus Christ, Miltenberg over there. Again, the riverbanks look absolutely dog shit. This, you know, as far as the eye can comfortably see, needs to be fixed. Come on, guys. You guys have to know how vegetative this area is along the riverbank. That looks very dog water. Like, I don't even know if anybody says that anymore, but it's just, it was water, so it made me think of it. Yes, that does not look good at all. So anyway, fun fact about Miltenberg, the actual original station would have gone down that way. So this is another one of those towns. Miltenberg's very old, historically dating back to pre-Roman times, Neolithic era, essentially. You know, via, I think there's some circular ramparts that they date that back historically. But the Romans arrived here in about 150 AD, fortifying the area, as with a lot of the main river valley. Now, the old town, so a lot of your old buildings and historical stuff is on the southern side of the river. So it's kind of like a U shape or an elbow. So the river is actually just in front of us, just that way a bit. And then that, of course, is north, So it's just a big kind of U-turn or a big curve. So the old town is actually on that side of the river. So that's where a lot of the cool historical stuff is going to be. Hell, I think one of the oldest hotels or inns in Germany, in all of Germany, might even be the oldest one, is in Miltenberg, in that little section of Old Town down there. So it is a gorgeous freaking town. It's one of those places where, you know, if you're not from Europe or hell, even Germany, and you have like a mental picture of Bavaria, Miltenberg is that mental picture. You know, the old wooden truss and beam kind of look and the colors. It's gorgeous. Love stuff like that. Anyway, sidetracked a bit there. So you can kind of see this open bit. That was a rail line and it dead ended. So trains would have to come in and then back into the station there. Anyway, yeah, this is the original station down there. You can't see it anymore. I think it's still kind of open like that, but it was on the south side of the river, and it was closed. Oh, here comes a train. Very nice. Here's some flame squeal. Of course, we'll get all on that in a minute. We're almost wrapped up with the geography here. So the station that was originally down here, let's see if we can get down here at all. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you see that big open area, like center screen there? It was eventually closed to passenger traffic just to make this a more smoother flowing area so trains wouldn't have to back in and make a bunch of moves and all that crap. It closed to passengers in 1977, and then the freight yard eventually closed in about 2005, and everything was moved on the, I guess that's east now, eastern side of the river. But Miltenberg, let's go check that out. So this is the other anchor point of the route. Now this looks okay because it's got that LOD, so like that's okay there. Okay, I'm happy with that. But from over here, man, yikes, no bueno, nein gut, or however you say that. And then of course over there, again, not very good. You see an old historical tower there as well. Well, you could. There we go. Very cool. So the old town is like to our right there. The station up here, Miltenberg Station, is just ahead. Oh, and that bridge, by the way, it's a very old bridge. That bridge was, I want to say that bridge was built in like 1904. So it's still got that old kind of steel truss visualization to it. This is the Miltenberg train station. Again, extremely busy. I don't know that it would be this busy. Mainly DMU served. 363 in the totally wrong color. I don't know why they added it in that blue and cream livery. It just doesn't really fit. TBH. This is another little, or should be a fueling station right here. Fuel rack. Okay. I thought that was like one of the gimmicks of this route is fueling trains. Am I losing my shit here? Or am I missing something? I'm pretty sure that's where it is. We'll go down here. Take a peek. Yeah, no. That's not it. So that continues on west. Can't go much further there. Okay, well, I guess you're not meant to fuel trains here. I guess you're only supposed to do it in Aschaffenburg. Alright, so that is the map. Not much to it. Very short, very quaint. This is a very historical area. I'm kind of peeved some stuff wasn't added, but now let us go in the menu, take a look at your scenarios, your timetables, what you can operate, and then we're going to get in that new diesel multiple unit. Alrighty, and with the cue of the rousing classical style music, this is your menu. I've only got German stuff installed right now because I'm just not very happy with anything else, to be completely honest with Train Sim World. So here is MAINTALBAHN, Aschaffenburg, Miltenberg. We'll pop that open. Take a look at the timetable. You can see 133 services. Now I have everything that can be layered in installed. So I believe that's got a lot to do with that. You can see the DBBR 642. The DBBR 628.2 in the red livery from MAINTALBAHN. The BR 612 that came with, I think, Dresden Chemnitz. And the DB-BR363 and the cream and blue livery, which doesn't really work out. The G6 shunter. For whatever reason, they didn't add the 204, which would have been the most fitting thing to see around some of the industry, if I'm completely honest. So, I'm sure they've got some stupid reasons or excuses for that. I don't know what they are. Some of the other stuff that you're not seeing, like the Doppelstock, the 146, or the ICE, that's because it's only going to be running through Aschaffenburg. So that would be a very small, kind of pointless service. So the 642, we'll crack that open. These are all your services. So they do indeed have the RB and the RE services. That's cool. I was worried they were only going to have one. And it looks like there's quite a few. You've got some depot moves. Not some complete runs. Yeah, so there's actually quite a bit to do. There's a lot of depot stuff. That looks like it's taking up quite a chunk. We'll back out and look at the 628.2. Should be largely some of the same services. Yeah, the RB88 looks to be more predominant here, which, like I was mentioning earlier, is the slower service. Bit slower, stopping quite a bit more. So there's quite a few of those if you have MAINTALBAHN. If you do not, even if you don't like German stuff, I would definitely recommend that. The 612, let's see, single unit, double units, of course, from there to ramp are addressed in Chemnitz. 87 and 88. A lot of it is refueling and stuff like that. I didn't even know those ran down here, to be honest. We'll back out. Look at the 363. This is what I'm interested in. So, we've got like 28 versions. Jesus H. Christopher. This is like the Class 66 from Train Sim Classic. How many can we possibly have and need? So there's a bunch there. Here's the color you'd want to use, the rayon, basically. All right, so we got quite a bit. Shuffing at shuffing. Jesus Christ. Shunting at Aschaffenburg Hafen. So we've got that. This runs to the port. Saw some Oberberg, Elsenfeld. So that runs pretty good distance. What else we got down here? Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg, 35 minutes. I'm sorry, what? Oh, that's part 2. I was going to say that would take forever. So we got that. So there's quite a few things to do. Again, also, now you've got free roam, so you can kind of scratch whatever itch you got as far as doing that kind of stuff. The G6, we'll take a peeky poo at that. Looks like it's going to be largely the same. All right. That said, let us go ahead and take a look at this new thing. The DVBR 642. Alright guys, we've loaded in the DVBR 642. I have done nothing in lieu of any kind of tutorial or training. I'm going to try and feel this thing out by myself. So, I'd also like to know, I didn't really explain the MAINTALBAHN. So we're currently in Miltenberg. And boy, the land is on fire. Everything is orange except for the evergreens, of course. I mean, good Lord, I feel like it's a bit much, if I'm honest. You know, some of the distance stuff actually looks pretty cool, except it's kind of dumb that the ground is like the same color of the trees. But you know, we're not here for geography and vegetations anymore in history. It's train time. So the MAINTALBAHN means Main Valley Railway. It's a single track main line running along the river Main, of course, in Bavaria, in Baden-Württemberg, in southern Germany. I'd say the top is more like central, but anyway, neither here nor there. So the entire line runs from Aschaffenburg to Miltenberg, with another line from Miltenberg to Wertheim. Now, the line, I want to say it dates back to mid-late 1800s with a branch to Wertheim, later built 1906, actually when it was completed. Started building it long before that. But currently the line is ran by West Frankenbahn, which again is a subsidiary of DB. Initially slated to shut down was this line, but then it got brought back from you know, some tourism, cycling, all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, these units here and some of the other units that run on this line are special carriages to carry bicycles and stuff like that, and have special compartments, which is kind of neat. So they have that certain times of the year. I want to say like the middle part of the year, so maybe like April to September. I don't know. But there's fueling stations at Aschaffenburg and Miltenberg. I don't know why they're not here in Miltenberg. Maybe they're not realistically anymore. I honestly don't know. But I thought there should be. So this round-faced, wormy boy looking thing is the DBBR Class 642. Over 250 units were produced, built by Siemens Mobility on the Desiro Classic chassis platform, of course, built 1998 to 2010 with a top speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Now they have different power units. I think they're largely like a truck engine or a bus engine. The one that comes to mind is the MTU, I think it's 6R183 TD. And it's basically, so like this is 2 cars, this is 2x6 cylinder diesel engine. It's also got diesel mechanical drive, so it's like it shifts as well, which will be interesting to see what happens with that. But they're primarily used on lines in Bavaria, Brandenburg, Saxony, Saxon-Anhalt, Mecklenburg West, Rhineland, Palatinate, Hesse, Saarland. I may be missing some. But, and there's 2 services, like I mentioned. So there's the RE87, which is kind of a quicker, less stopper, and then the RB88, which is a slower, more frequent stopping train. So, this is it. By first glance and appearance, it looks pretty good. I feel like Dovetail have never really had an issue in the modeling department and making trains look pretty decent. On occasion, they do all kind of tend to have that plasticky child's toy look to them. Most of the time, a lot of that's based on the texturing and the paint. But then there's some models that look a lot better. So this thing looks pretty faithful. It's got a unique design. I can't imagine it could have been that easy building this kind of slanted, curved face or cab on this thing. It has got an absolutely massive windscreen, or windshield as we call it here in the States. So yeah, it should have a decent view. Again, the red, I feel like the red for the DB stuff, and in this case West Frankenbahn, has always looked pretty good. It's almost like a reddish, orangish, but it translates into the game pretty well. I think this is probably one of the better colors they do in any of Dovetail's Train Sim World stuff. Is this you know, DB West Frankenbahn color. But it looks good. The unit looks good. It looks pretty faithful. I like the rusted out chassis and the bogies, the suspension down below. Got all these little bits and bobs and numbers, which I have like that. No clue. No clue. Never will. You got the nice logo on there. Mobilitat für Baden-Württemberg. Bewegd. Wegged. I guess that's how you say it. The LED lights are still like, come on, man. I wish we'd get some new ones of those that look okay. Here's your information system. It's the RB88 Aschaffenburg. It looks like that's spelled correctly. I know they had some issues on the spelling. Initially, this coupling compartment down here looks pretty damn good, if I'm honest. That looks nice down in there. That little vent. Excuse me, it's the horn there. Hell, even that cable that, you know, looks like rubber. This stuff down here looks pretty good. Weathering on the coupler itself, that looks nice. That looks very nice. Look at the weathering along the trim here. That's pretty good, man. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people that are going to buy this line, it's obviously not busy, not a ton to do. It's not going to be a whole lot going on. I feel like a lot of the people that are going to buy this are going to buy it for this multiple unit. And I think Dovetail knew that. Now, they could have sold it on their own, or they could have taken Main Spessart Bahn you know, threw it in a blender, throw some new things on it, and add a route to it so they could charge more money for it. And I think that's what you have here. Yeah, the model looks pretty good. It's got the unique little stack exhaust. They stick up so friggin' high, it's weird. Anywho, let's hop in. So, I'd also like to note, inside voices. Let me turn up the game volume a bit here. Alright, hopefully that... I feel like my voice looks like it's really low on my scale on OBS. Okay, let me turn that back down a hair. Okay, hopefully that'll suffice there. So Dovetail noted I think they sent 1 or 2 guys and originally recorded this thing. So that's good. I'd like to see some more of that, but you know, just knowing that right off the bat, you know, engineering it post-recording is a big deal. So let's hope that was done well. You know, the idle sounds okay. It just sounds a bit thin. You know, it's a little diesel engine. This thing should be thumping and rumbling, have a bit of bass to it. And it doesn't really seem to have much of that. Let's hop up and take a look in the compartment. These things are very spacious. It does have a different sound in the coach versus the cab. A little bit more quiet. Probably HVAC, you know, air, heat running. At least sounds pretty good. Man, this thing is packed out, son. I like the rug. That's cool as hell. I like that rug, man. That's neat. Looks pretty good. Little details. Little D-tizzies. That's good. That's good. See if you fall down seats. No. Hello, folks. Okay, so big question. And I can go ahead and answer no. The shitter is not accessible, sadly. I will say that the big recent SimRail update and that little multiple unit they gave us, you can go all up in that shitter if one would like to do so. I believe this is a screen. It's not on. I don't know if you can turn it on. I'm gonna go with a no. Looks pretty decent in here, and I like the lighting. I love the way it reflects off the top. That looks okay, and it's actually got a very warm hue to it. It's just not that like hospital color light, you know, which generally doesn't look that good. I think the interior of this thing actually looks pretty good. It's definitely on, you know, and let's say an upper scale, you know, considering some of the older stuff. Anyway, let's leave these people be. Let's turn on the PZB. We'll leave it there. See if I can kiss my ass. I'm not turning it on. I don't even care if it works because I don't use it. No, we don't want to give up service. Where's my PZB? So it's already set to PZB. Is there a panel? 9? Okay, nothing back there. 9. Let's see, what do we have here? Switches. PZB on. Nope. Nothing there. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. Okay, good deal. Jump seat. Up and down. That thing's got more bass than the damn engine does. Alright. Cool. Winders. Alright, so there is dynamic sound or sound occlusion or whatever the freaky deaky term is. You can sit in the second seat. Sound does change. Very cool. Got the blinds. There we go. What do we got down here? Heating controls. You know, you could F with them. They don't do anything. It's something Dovetail have added, I guess, because it's easy to animate a switch. I can't tell if that's making a sound or not, to be honest. Alright, let's hop in. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see if you can actually... No, so there's no Adjustamentations. Alright, let's get in. Let's get in this bad boy. Oh yeah, man. The view is big time. It's like the 425 kinda. 612. Alright, let's see. Radio. Contact signaler. Doesn't do anything. Just numbers. Yeah. Cool. The Ebula has absolutely nothing on it. Like, just give me some static shit there or something, man. You can't even turn it off or on. You can't do nothing. It sucks. Here's your passenger display stuff. Let's see, is it allowing us to change? Okay, I have it set to Aschaffenburg Süd. Of course, there's the auto set. But it didn't change. I don't know if Aschaffenburg Süd actually changes if it puts Süd on there. Let's see. Yeah, okay, hold on. Let's try that. So I got Aschaffenburg Süd, and we'll hit OK or confirm. Okay, cool. It does work. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Very nice. Let's set it back to auto. Hit confirm anyway. And there it's back. Alright, what else have we got to break? It does nothing. The wipers. Got a nice kind of mellow sound. Okay, turn those back off. And our signal lights, so they're currently set to tails. We will set them to heads. There we go. What else we got here? What do we got? Alright, park and brake. So we probably want to release it. It might be applied. We're going to do that. Sometimes you got to hold that bad boy down a hair. Here's our power brake handle, which is scheisse. Okay, yeah, I accidentally hit that. Big poo-poo. Okay, let's get this thing rolling, shall we? Alright, so PCB. Didn't hear anything out of that. Can you change the contrast and all that? Yes, you can. Very nice. What else we got here? You can turn that off. Config. Motor. And Fargasm. Fargastrom. Alright, yeah, I don't want to mess with that. Let's go back to the menu. The Grundbreeded. B&B, traction motor, lights, CIFA test. I don't want to mess with that because it might. I don't want to have to go back and redo this whole deal. So it looks like you can mess around with some stuff, which is kind of cool. Okay, so master key, ein. Near the air brake. Doors. Let's go ahead and unlock the... Is that a platform on the left? Yes, it is. Unlock left. See if we got any like cool sounds or anything when we close it. I really like that rug. That is a nice feature. And it, you know, you can even see the indentation of where it kind of goes over the trim and the floor, you know? Ma'am, do you? Rude. Alright, let's lock them up. Kind of quiet. Kind of quiet. Lock steps. What's that? Cool. Alright, there's a reverser. Let's go ahead and throw that forward. What do we got there? There's our lights. Let's see here. High beam. Auxiliary travel. Don't know what that does. Sounds fun. Desk light, dimmer, cab lights. Instrument lights. Gator test. Everything seems to be working. Those lights kind of suck. The PCB lights and the magnet lights. God, I feel like you could never see those in Train Sim World. Alright, magnetic brake is currently off. Let's see if we can get this thing moving, shall we? Alright, driver brake set to driving. Is this a all-in-one deal? Yeah. Let me turn the sounds up for you guys on here. Cool, you can hear the relay sound clicking in the PCB thing. That's pretty neat. Oh, is that a new sound as well? Like a little horn? That sounds pretty good, man. Alright, so that sound when this thing revving up did not... Excuse me. So this thing is like geared, kind of, and it just sounded like a tonal shift. You know what I mean? And not actual, you know, different sounds. So let's go ahead and crack that up and let's test the horn. I think that sounds okay, but I also think that that's just a pitch shifted horn sound from something else. Absolutely no change with the windows open. Alright, a little bit of juice. Yeah, this thing needs a lot more reverb. A lot more reverb. It's so thin. The exhaust looks pretty shit. It's like, looks like steam. White. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what I was worried about. So, you know, I'd heard, and I went back and caught a bit of the Dovetail stream about this, which kind of sucked. If I'm honest, I don't know if any of you caught the Dovetail stream on this route, but half of the thing was in German. You know, I know there's the argument to be had about inclusivity and all that shit, but Dovetail Games is a British company now owned by the cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Love you French guys and gals. Just having some fun. It's from a movie. So speak English. You know, I know that everybody on their staff has to know how to speak English, because, you know, I don't know that, but I would take a stab at saying that that's what's got to be a thing. So I don't know why. So I just stopped watching the stream because it was in German, and then of course, you know, the Dovetail mouthpiece was like, oh well, it's in the subtitles. No. Plus the subtitles didn't work, so I don't know what the hell is going on with that stream, but it was super weird. Anywho, this thing feels very underpowered, as I feel like it should, but it also doesn't feel organic. Like, I don't really feel like I'm operating anything. I like the sound of the flange squeal. I like that. Alright, let's juice it up. Our first stop is at Klingenberg. We're going downhill here. It's just super quiet, man. Like, it's, you know, I'm no sound engineer, but I am highly anal about sounds, as I'm sure some of you know, and they just seem very thin. Max power! Yeah, I might have missed it, but I didn't really hear a shift either. Alright, we got a green flashy boy and a 5. We gotta slow it down. Around 85, yeah, we were. Holy Nikes. Yeah, we were already. We're already going way too slow, so I panicked a bit. So the power throttle through your fingertips on the keyboard or whatever, however you play, are very quick. I feel like they need to be slowed down. Not so much maybe in lieu of like the DBBR 612 where it felt like molasses in January, but these are like super quick. I went from idle to max brake like that. Yeah, look at that. Holy crap, man. That needs to be slowed down big time. It's just way too quick. Way, way, way too quick. I do like the sound of the PCB, though. You know, the relay sound. The indicators. Like an old clock. Acknowledge that. Alright, so it's still 85, yeah. Yeah, it's just, you know, I feel like it's a dovetail thing, right? With sounds. And they're just never truly that good. They're not engineered well, sadly. And it's like they try to play it safe or something. Call it laziness, calling it playing safe, whatever. But none of the sounds ever seem to have any kind of depth to them. It's just so, it's like white bread, you know? It's like cornflakes, you know? There's just like no flavor. There's nothing to it. It's, I'm trying to describe it best I can. Hopefully I see that magnet. Hopefully it doesn't kill us. Brake sound was alright. Trying to open the doors. There we go. So yeah, I feel like their sounds are always like that for whatever reason, sadly. You know, just work on the sounds. Give us some more bass, you know, compression, whatever. It's okay. You're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings making the sound better. But I also know that a large majority of Dovetail's player base probably don't give a shit about sounds. It's just like, oh look, train, you know, and it's just like a whatever for a minute, and then they're done, you know. For people that actually like, you know, rail stuff and train sims, it's a kick in the nutsack. You know, just saying. So it's nice that you know, that they gosh, what is his name? Luca? It's nice that he went out and, you know, rode this service and got a feel for it and recorded some sounds, but they, you know, I got a feeling he didn't do the sounds, and I got a feeling I know who he gave them to, and that's why they suck. And I just think they need to get a new sound guy or something. I don't know. Not to be mean, but, you know, seriously. So I just tripped the PCB, obviously, because I went too fast. I am a speed demon, obviously. I went past the magnet, didn't acknowledge. But yeah, MAINTALBAHN, Aschaffenburg, Miltenberg. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's just, I think it's kind of like filler, you know? The DMU's nice. I need to play around with it a bit more, but at first glance it seems nice. Certainly looks nice. It feels okay. The sounds are okay, but it's like they could just be so much better. You know, just tweaked, sound engineered a bit better. And that would totally transform this experience. Like, at that point, the route and all the missing pieces of the route and all the reused assets and shit, you know, I'm telling you guys, you give us good sounds, And shit like that fades away. It fades into the background. It still matters, but it doesn't matter as much. But that's just my view on the thing. MAINTALBAHN, guys. Hope you found the video informative. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.